What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Small Talk Season 1 with me, Jutama. I'm quite excited about today's episode as we have a spectacular personality with us. He has been working in this entertainment industry for last 10 years. From breaking all the stereotyping to walking on heels, he has created himself. He has even been working as a grooming mentor, talent scout, or fashion choreographer, pageant coach in this industry. And yes, he has even worked with many national and international organizations like prestigious MISS India Organization, Aura Talents. And yes, he has even worked with popular television shows like MTV Roadies, MTV Splitsvilla for talent scouting. So please let me take the pleasure of welcoming the very captivating personality, Mr. Chao Poran J Gogoi. It's so good to have you, sir, here.
Thank you so much, and I must say that it was like way too
you deserve
beautiful introduction.
Every bit of it. You deserve
That's very kind of you. And this is my very first podcast, and I'm extremely happy to be a part of this.
We are glad to have you here.
And especially when I have good people around me like you to talk about, to discuss about, like so many things apart from, life, especially in this 2020, which has been quite the whirlwind ride for all of us. So I believe we can start with some new discussions for the upcoming generations, right?
Absolutely. So before diving into all this, I really want to know, when we say grooming mentor, fashion choreographer, or pageant coach, how to describe these terminologies?
If I have to go back, I started as a fashion designer from NIFT, National Institute of Fashion Technology in Delhi. Grooming was something that came couple of years later because I never intended to work as a grooming mentor, but there were certain opportunities which came in my career, and at that part of time I was also looking for work, and so a lot of people, they liked my communication skills, they liked certain ideas that I wanted to imply for the upcoming generation when it comes to grooming, because a lot of people have this misconception regarding grooming that it includes only walk or posing, but grooming overall, senior grooming mentors that we have in our country, one of my personal favorite, Sabira Merchant, so she's like one of the most veteran and very legendary grooming mentor of our country. And so somebody like her who discusses not only about your personality but also gives you a solution how to sharpen your communication skill, your diction, your pronunciation, your etiquettes, your dining etiquettes, your skin, hair, makeup, everything. So it includes, it's a overall spectrum, and there's a lot of categories and subcategories. So we cannot really term it only restricted only to walk and posing. And so grooming mentor is quite a heavy word, which sometimes are loosely used by almost every now and then by almost a lot of people. But then yes, I have been mostly working as a talent scout, and I have been grooming a lot of students for beauty pageants, for fashion shows, fashion modeling, and also for reality televisions, which you mentioned. I work as a casting coordinator. So casting coordinator's job is to find the talent, then polish them for that particular work and provide them the placement. So that is what I do for the Northeast zone. And Colossal Media Private Limited happens to be one of the biggest production house in India. So under that comes MTV. So I've been working since 7 to 8 years for that particular channel as a casting coordinator for Roadies and for Splitsvilla. And when it comes to Miss India Organization, I again work as a talent scout for Northeast zone. And my work is very specifically scouting talents, promoting them, polishing them, and placing them in that particular organization. So we have a protocol to maintain. There are steps which are given by us, by the particular organization or the company. We have to follow that particular step, and there's a process. So I play a very tiny role in that process. Maybe you can call me the bridge that connects Northeast to to the rest of the mainstream organization.
But it's quite
in
instrumental,
India.
I must say.
Yeah, it has its perks, but it's also kind of a very interesting, and sometimes it takes a lot of convincing capability for the talent scout or for the grooming mentor to convince that particular contestant to come and participate.
Okay, so if we come to this fashion choreography, so what exactly it is, if people need to understand
Well,
this?
fashion choreography is a different term again. Show director is a little different. A fashion choreographer or show director must have knowledge about the technical, things as well. Like, say, for example, the lighting, the sound, and they must know the stage design. Fashion choreographer's job. Let's start with fashion choreographer. The fashion choreographer basically choreograph the sequence of that particular fashion show. And now, apart from choreographing the sequence, he or she also is responsible for making sure which particular design or which particular model will be opening the show or closing the show. Because there's a color palette or there's a certain vision of the designer and how they want their collection to be showcased in the audience. So that's what a fashion choreographer will do. The show director, basically, his work will be complete direction, giving directions. Stage, light, sound, direction to how the audience will be seated, how the entire show will be decorated, how the invitation cards will be sent out. So he
looks for the everything, basically.
Everything.
So now I'd like to rewind your life a little, since now you're an active member of LGBT community. But since it's known that, your journey from identifying your individuality or your orientation till the time of it getting accepted by the society or the people around you, it wasn't that easy. So how have you tackled that phase of yours?
Yeah, actually, it's quite the common question, but then I'm kind of, it makes me think right now when I look back in my past, things have been really different, and now it's kind of a little different. Now it has been a new conversation starter. But of course, see, I'm from the 90s. Things were very different in early 2000 and things. I mean, people mindset has not changed much. See, I never had to come out as an open homosexual person. I never had to convince anybody. But the thing is that I was always myself. I never had to talk about my sexuality, but the world made me realize that I'm different. I never thought I'm different, to be very honest. I thought I was the least interesting person, to be very honest. Okay, the world made me feel that I'm very different from what is considered to be normal, only because my choices, when it comes to the stereotypical gender roles that we have in our society. Boys love blue, girls love pink, or boys will play with bike and girls will play with dollhouse. So those gender roles that we have, unfortunately, in the society, it's quite it's kind of cruel, because when a child is growing up, I think he or she should be allowed to explore and to do whatever they want to do.
Of course.
So when I was growing up, my choices when it comes to maybe something as simple as playing with dolls or maybe playing with my sister's makeup was something considered to be very feminine. And anything that is little feminine in our society is kind of looked down. And we live in let's be honest, we live in a very patriarchal society. So there's no doubt about it. So a boy acting or having a little feminine nature is considered to be extremely threatening for a lot many people, or abnormal for a lot many people, which I kind of find it very hilarious right now. But yes, when I was growing up, things were very different. I got my full realization that I'm not like the others. Maybe in my high school, I was in boarding in Bangalore, St. Xavier's, for a couple of years. And after my mother passed away, I came back to Guwahati, completed my schooling. Then my first high school years were a little troublesome, because I was at that age when I had to decide a gender, when I had to decide what I have to do. I could see that people were constantly bullying me, or they were calling me names, and be it the moment I go out of my house or be it in college. So that made me feel very secluded, and that made me feel very isolated at times, and I wanted to, like, stay away from a lot of them because it was getting very toxic and it hampered my studies. So I still remember my first year, my marks were really good, but my second year, the marks were horrible.
So it affected basically.
It affected me personally. My studies were, extremely bad, and mentally also it affected me a lot because I was at a very tender age when I should have been kind of given much more thought about what I'm going to do in the future. But my thought process kind of changed, and I realized at a very early age of life that I have to be very clear about what exactly I want from life, right? And should I bow down to people and pretend that to be something that I'm not, or should I just be myself and just own it up? So I chose the latter. Of course, I decided just to be myself, and I started doing things that I always, I remember those were the days of My Chemical Romance, Green Day, Avril, Tokyo Hotel. Like, we were living in an emo punk, phase, and we had this skinny jeans, Converse shoes, heavy metal t-shirts, black nail polish, kajal liner under the eyes. So I was, that era. So I was from that era, where rebellious things were happening. So I used to have black nail polish, long nails. My teacher used to tell me, like, you're in the wrong place, you should be in the fashion world. And very coincidentally, very funnily, I met my teacher, I think 8 years later, in a social gathering, and I went up to him. So I said, "Sir, do you remember me? You told me, like, I should be in the fashion field. I'm actually here right now." So he was very proud of me anyways. So yeah, it has been quite a struggle. And regarding my association with the LGBTQ, see, we have serious LGBTQ activists in Guwahati. Some of them are my very good friends, and they are doing actually the serious ground level work. I have been speaking for myself, and I can only speak for myself right now, because when your entire existence, the foundation of your existence, is either based on truth or it's based on lies. Now when I look back, I really thank myself and give a pat on my back, because had I not being me from the beginning, things would have been very messed up now. Thank God that I chose to be the person what I am. And I always wanted to be a little flamboyant. I always wanted to play with makeup, wanted to play with colors, wanted to be just me, And even though there were a lot of, backlash from home, from my brother, from family, from professional work, from friends, everybody, almost everybody deserted me. So I had to make sure that, all of this are not going to affect me, and I'm going to make something out of myself. No matter, like, whatever it is, I'm going to just live my life on my own terms and conditions.
So was it one of the reasons that you have chosen the glamour industry, since it's quite flexible and has a wide range of acceptance?
Yes and no, both. Yes, because absolutely you are right. The showbiz industry, the fashion industry, it's very inclusive. It welcomes anybody irrespective of your caste, creed, gender. It just welcomes you based on your creativity. You just need to be creative and you're welcome, nothing else. There's no judgment going on. That is the fabulous part of being in this industry. Second thing, yes, I always felt, I was always attracted to colors, and I was a student in fine arts, and I also have a diploma. So I always wanted to be a part of something that has got to do with, designing and, makeup or colors or something, creating something basically. I didn't knew what I'll create eventually, but I knew that I wanted to be a part of something that will be more focused into creating and discovering new things, rather than stereotyping and categorizing a certain thing and putting them in a box.
Okay. So I just want to know, is this glamour industry paying off your hard work well?
It depends. It depends the kind of designation you are. It depends on your work ethic. It depends on so many other spectrum, like what organization you're working for. Are you working as a freelance? Are you under a contract? See, I started working as a freelance mostly. I started working for various organizations. I still do. I have been working as a pageant coach, and our shows and the like salary, whatever you'd like to call it, it depends on per event, right? And see, then again, this is such a huge discussion. Like success, there is no specific definition to it. A person can feel contented and successful by whatever little they have. You can have all the fabulosity of the world, all the luxury of the world, but you still might feel something is missing. You might have something which the world might think it's very little, but you still might feel you're successful. So to answer your question, I feel that I am feeling extremely contented, satisfied with what I do, and monetarily I'm happy what I'm getting, because greed and need are two different things, and my needs are very
can
simple.
You say, like, okay, people can take up this fashion choreography,
Absolutely.
pageant coaching as their career?
See, these are careers. These are definitely, in India, these are not considered to be mainstream. In India, we are known for mainstream subjects like engineering, science, and arts have never been considered to be a mainstream, unfortunately. But then a lot of people doesn't realize the power and the value of being an art student, because when you're an art student, you don't have a restriction that you cannot do, you cannot enter in other field. You can actually, being an art student or coming from an arts background, you have the creative freedom to create anything, be whatever you want,
be
and be
flexible
yourself.
Of yours.
Yes, be yourself entrepreneur, which is very important. And this particular field, you are a model yourself, you are a host, and this definitely pays off. We have so many legendary designers, choreographers, models for whom this is not just a playtime or a hobby. This is a full-fledged career. I have given 11 right now running of 11 years, good 10 years of my life, which is not a joke.
That's a huge one,
and I'm no stupid, keeping in mind I have given CAT, ZAT and MAT exam to actually be a student of NIFT. And if you actually compare some of the entrance exam process of NIFT and engineering, it's somewhat it's little common, because NIFT, again, it comes under Textile Ministry of India, and it's not easy at all for you to crack NIFT exams, entrance exam. You have to get shortlisted, because CAT, ZAT and MAT, these 3 exams will only eventually decide whether you are good enough to be a student of NIFT or not. But apart from that, you also need a creative sensibility where you know exactly what you're going to do eventually with your life, right? So that is something.
So, okay,
important.
now if I come to modeling and all, so since you're a grooming mentor, so what are the qualities you think you look for in a model?
Well, a very nice question, and this is something like as I've already mentioned, this is a job, right? This is not a hobby to be a model, which a lot of people think. See, just because you're tall, or just because you look good, just because of anything, it doesn't mean that you can be a model, right? You're a model only when you are getting work, you are getting paid, you are getting booked. Right. Same goes for me. I'm a grooming mentor only when I'm getting booked, I'm getting work. If I'm a grooming mentor who used to get work 10 years back, 20 years back, that's a good thing. I used to, but if not now. But for me, only a working model is a model.
So if we need to say about, like, we have seen most of the girls, or some of the girls especially, I would like to say that, taken up modeling as a career, and they have done excellent in their work. But there are still some girls who cannot come up with such outcomes. What do you think? What's the reason behind it?
The reason is very simple. Like, you need proper guidance, you need proper mentoring, you need a clarity of thought, that the field that, see, a lot of the generation, especially the millennials, they don't have the patience right now. They want everything so fast. They want to be a contestant today, they want to be a model tomorrow, day after tomorrow they want to be a supermodel, and after that, the 4th day they want to become a organizer or a grooming mentor. It doesn't work like that. You stick to one. It's a process, patience is required, and lot of people don't have the clear idea the categories in modeling. We have 3 primary category in modeling: ramp, print and TVC, commercial. For ramp, height is very important, absolutely. It doesn't matter. And now, of course, a lot of people think skin color and this and that, which is actually a myth. Skin color, skin shade doesn't matter. Your skin needs to be healthy and glowing. Your hair needs to be healthy and glowing. That's all. The color, the shade, it doesn't really matter. For ramp, as I've said, height is very, very important. For print, a stunning face, a face that camera loves, and you can actually play with that face, and it's very expressive. There should be a market for that face, a girl next to or somebody. Then for TVC, commercials, then again, height also doesn't matter. The face matters, how much of acting skills you have, because there are scripts, you have to deliver dialogue. And we do a lot of TVCs, like, we have associations with a lot of brands like Elitine, Pantene, Clinic Plus, so we get a lot of scripts. And our models have to read those scripts, understand what the TVC wants and act accordingly.
And what was the last one, as you said?
Pardon, the TVC, commercial TVC is the same thing. Those are TV advertisement that we see, the toothpaste ad or a shampoo ad or a skincare ad. These ads, people cast according to the script. There might be a requirement of a 40-year-old person to play the role of a father. There might be a requirement of
it depends on the requirement,
requirement.
Okay, now if we come to pageantry, so how does this two thing varies? Because people usually mix this two terms. So how do you differentiate this?
Well, beauty pageants and fashion modeling are somewhat similar and also different. Beauty pageant is all about the personality, the person that you are. It has got nothing to do with what you're wearing or how much of makeup you have or whatsoever. Beauty pageant is all about you, your thought process, what you think and what you want to do with this for the society and about your life. But when it comes to fashion modeling, it's less about you and more about the garment or the product that you have been given to flaunt or to sell. Basically, you're more like a tool or a marketing agent. Supposedly you are given a certain product. So we would like you to flaunt that product in such a way that people, the consumer, would like to buy it. So you're a model for that. You are showcasing that garment. So where you don't have to talk, where you don't have to speak, you just have to wear that product or hold that product and promote it as given instruction by the script or the choreographer.
I very excitedly want to know that when we talk about pageantry, there are a few names from India, like evergreen names, be it Aishwarya Rai or Priyanka Chopra or Sushmita Sen. So what do you think is the unique traits which they had and have made them different or unique from the others?
I know the millennials will be very angry on this answer. But see, again,
no, it's quite of a setup thing.
See, I'll like to explain it here and I'd like to take a little bit of time. 90s and early 2000 were a totally different time compared to this. If you ask any of your elder brother, sister, your parents, it was a very different time. Things were a little less materialistic, people were a little more humans and less machines.
All right.
They were very real. And there was a genuine affection, empathy was there. There was a lot of connections. There was a passion and excitement to do something new, which nowadays it's more of a competition, which is kind of unhealthy sometimes. There's a lot of comparisons, a lot of insecurity, a lot of putting up a shield and trying to look or speak like somebody else.
So are you trying to say that humanity is a little lesser nowadays?
Humanity as in people are always running, it's a rat race now. It's people are always running to reach the line, but nobody's actually trying to understand that it doesn't really matter whether you reach the finish line or not. What matters is the journey, is the pace, and in that entire process, how you have carried yourself.
The purpose has changed.
The purpose, I feel sometimes like, see in the times of Priyanka Chopra, Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, Sushmita Sen, they won because they had this real personality which sustained till now.
Of course, absolutely.
I mean, you speak to any 90s person, any early 2000 person, they don't exactly need a script or anything to talk about humanity or anything. They speak what they feel like. Today's time is a little different. Today's time is more about getting that 15 seconds of fame. So in that 15 seconds of fame, I'll do whatever is needed to be popular. And then once the camera is off, lights are off, you'll be again yourself. See, everybody needs to have two faces, one for the public, one for the personal, right? And combining these two faces, it will be the perfect example for where you actually are delivering something for your family and friends and something for the professional world. But then again, you have to understand, you cannot fake your personality, you cannot pretend, and you need to have lot of patience. Success, winning, fame, these are all very tempting, but then again, not a lot of people can handle this success.
Obviously.
I've seen a lot of people, a lot of young boys and girls getting successful today, crumbling next year.
So, and even we even have like seen people, you know, going through that mental breakdown sort of phase.
Because they are so much under pressure. They give this pressure to themselves. They are always comparing them with somebody else. I come from a generation where I didn't have any role model. I never felt the need to compare myself. Yes, I used to know there was Elton John or George Michael, or maybe, you know, like people like them who were they're a class of their own now. Now today's world, everybody is running, they're so fast. As I've said, there were more humans back then. Now everybody is a machine. Everybody is just trying to prove something, or just somehow to just get that crown or get that 15 seconds of limelight. But the promises, the oath that you take, the promises you make to your audience, to your people, are you really willing to keep those promises if you don't have the crown? That is much more important. Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, she promised about giving, continuing social charitable cause called the Smile Train, which fixes a condition of a teeth for children, which she has been doing it since more than 20 years. She even got like world recognition by Miss World organization Julia Morley for that. So those are extremely powerful, because you don't become Miss World or Miss Universe, make some promise for
not because
of
the crown and the sash, of course.
Absolutely not. The next year you forget about it. No, you need to continue that.
Assam Downtown University, Northeast India's most placement-driven university. Admission open for 2020-21 session. For more details, visit www.adtu.in or.
So before, models, they used to get discovered either by photographers or by people like them, and then they go on a journey where they, you know, make their big names. But nowadays what happens, like the pretty faces or the, you know, people who has quality, they're quite accessible due to the social media and all. So what do you think, how impactful it is?
See, the word supermodel actually was used in the 90s, and it was given by late legendary Gianni Versace. The supermodels used to be Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, Christy Turlington. So those were some of the supermodels, you know. From India, of course, we had our own. Those were times, and the supermodels used to be very exclusive. Like, they would not be seen everywhere. They would be seen only on the cover of Vogue or on the cover of Harper's Bazaar or something, you know. And they were very exclusive, so you cannot meet them, you won't see them in any coffee shop anywhere. They used to come only when it was required for fashion weeks and everything. So they were in high demand. Every fashion house, every designer had to book them 6 months prior, 7 months prior. So the packages used to be, in fact, the supermodels used, the film industry, the Hollywood film industry, understood and learned about fashion from the fashion industry. So the supermodels, European supermodels, international, global supermodels, they actually influenced the Hollywood actresses to dress better. A lot of these magazines and a lot of this, if you might have seen in today's time, they use a lot of actor and actresses for the cover, right? But actually the cover should be used only by the supermodels. Now, those times supermodels used to have a bond. They used to be good friends. I remember, I'll share an incident with you. Naomi Campbell happens to be the first African American model, first black model to appear in French Vogue. Okay, so she was so they had this group, Linda, Christy, so her best friend Christy Turlington, she even said like she was getting a huge show and she told the designer, if you're not taking Naomi, then even you won't get me. Wow. So the bond used to be so strong. Right. There was competition, and there's a documentary for that, you can check it on YouTube, the 90s supermodel, OGs. But now with the Instagram models, see again, it's a job. Looking pretty is not the criteria. The criteria is you to do your work, know your work, and that's it. But your work is to make sure you should be able to carry that particular garment, you should know the poses, and you should be hardcore professional, right? When you do catalog shoots, which is very rare in Northeast, catalog shoots, if I have to explain, those are online shoots like for Amazon, Myntra. You know, a model has to do more than 100 changes of outfits.
I think in a day or in a hour.
In a day. In a day, but you don't get the 24 hours, of course. You get couple of hours. You have to do 100 changes of clothes. Like one you wear, take it off, pose, wear, 100 changes. So those are not easy, right? So those are jobs. In the same day, you have to run for another casting, another audition. You have to commit yourself to be able to travel, to go for open calls, to do all the shoots, and also at the same time to take care of your skin, hair, and your fitness, right? So Instagram models, with due respect, and the real models, the difference is easily seen. If somebody writes that they're a model on their Instagram bio or social media bio, it is unnecessary, I feel. If you're a model, you will get booked, you'll be working, you will hardly have time. Yes, in today's time, social media plays a role where you need to upload pictures or to promote and stuff like that, which your agency or your agent will do on your behalf. But if you're a working model, you're a working model, right? And models used to be discovered. That's a fact. There's a famous movie that I also shared it very recently in my Instagram, Desert Flower. She's from Somalia. She is again one of the famous, supermodel from the early 80s. Her name is Warriors Diary, and she was discovered in a McDonald's restaurant while sweeping the floor by one of the famous photographer of UK, who used to click pictures for Princess Diana, and she got discovered. So models used to get discovered. Me as a talent scout, I'm more into discovering. And how I do the discovering, if I'm going somewhere, if I'm in a coffee shop, or if I'm anywhere, I see somebody who has either a good face or a good height or a certain personality, I go and approach and I talk to them.
All right. So in case of Northeast, how do you think this industry, be it pageantry or modeling, is rising at this time?
I'm happy that it's developing. I'm happy that it's rising. There are a hell lot of talents. Of course, Northeast, it's such a diverse region. Like each state is so close to me because I have closely worked in each state. I know almost all the tribes out here, Nagaland being one of my most closest and friendliest state, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Tripura, Manipur, Meghalaya, of course Assam. So we have so much of talent in terms of singers, actors, pageant contestants and everything. But then again, the guidance and the mentors need to understand the criteria and the requirement of the national level as well, and they need to polish them. See, very very simple, Jyotima, I'll tell you. If 3 categories: state level, regional and national, and then comes international. So you need to polish and actually improve your skills accordingly. We start from ground level, right? Then we rise. So you have to keep on improving yourself and understand the eligibility criteria, the requirement, because every market is different.
So you have to understand basically everything.
Indian market is different, European market is different. Indian market, like our main wardrobe staple is sari or lehenga. So a female model must know how to wear a sari or must know how to carry their traditional outfit. European market is different. Here our models need to be a little bit more, graceful or I mean, the edginess is there definitely.
So now I would like to wrap up this conversation because I really feel like going and listening to you again and again. But then since we have
I'm quite the chatterbox.
I love it. So since I have to end it with, I really want you to give the 5 traits that one model should have. Any of the models.
Okay.
The 5 golden rules of modeling, basically.
5 golden rules. Of course, crazy amount of confidence. One has to be like, extremely confident in such a way that they know confident about themselves. Second, enlightenment. Enlightenment, if I have to explain it, like, the person should know their job, the criteria, the requirements, and if there is something improvisation required in himself or herself, they should be able to ready to do it very humbly. 3, patience.
Very, very important.
Extremely important. Nothing happens overnight. There's no shortcut. There's just no shortcut. I'm telling you from my 10 years. There were several moments when I wanted to just drop and leave and I'm done. But there's no shortcut. Things, you might become successful or famous tomorrow, you might not. Okay. The fourth one has to be, of course, you have to have a certain charming personality. A personality that is friendly and easy to work with and people can connect with. People would like to hire you, would like to book you. You should not be very difficult or aggressive or should not be, should have a certain etiquette.
And what would be the last one?
The last one, of course, the last one has to be, you must, it goes for not only models but for everybody. Okay. You must look the part that you claim to be. You must look and act the part that you claim to be. That's all.
So I really love this intellectual conversation. I'm sure that everyone is going to love it and I really don't feel like, I don't want to let you go, but then since I have to.
But we are in touch, of course, so we'll be talking about it.
Absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
Off camera as well.
Thank you so much for coming
My
on this
pleasure.
show. I literally loved it. So really, thank you so much for being here. We really had a great episode with you.
Thank you so much for inviting me and for all these lovely questions, and I wish you and your team a great success.
Thank
for
you.
This podcast.
It really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.